Welcome to episode 93 of Meet the Gimp. Across our road is a small shop, a Weltladen, a fair trade shop. And they sell a lot of stuff. Food, clothes, things you use in the house, things you can give away as a present, musical instruments, and so on. It's all is traded and made in a fair way. They have a logo, the Bremen town musicians, but well, these town musicians are not as usual. They are a zebra, a tiger, a fennec, and a toucan. And now they've got this logo in form of a terracotta figure. And Andra and I were asked to make a photo of this for promotional stuff they want to make. It was quite a nightmare to shoot this without getting too much reflections in it, with getting the eyes of the animals in and so. And this is one of the images the shop selected. Of course, this image isn't usable in this way here. I have to do a little bit to get it ready for print. So let's start. The first thing is to isolate it from the background. And for that I need a layer mask, and I can just do this by adding a layer mask and take the grayscale copy of the layer. Here we are. Perhaps I should have doubled the background layer, but let's... And now I have to make the figure black and the background white. No, it's the other way around. And now I have to make the figure white and the background black. But it's easier to just to make the background white and the figure black and then invert it later. So let's try this. I select the threshold tool and let's pull this over here. And you see I have not that much success in getting everything black or white, because here are shadows on the background which have the same lightness as the parts of the figure here. So let's try a different approach. Let me erase this here again and double the background for security. And now I make a composed layer mask made out of several layers here. So the first one here, I want to get the top of the figure right, and again with the threshold tool I pull this up and more. Forget the stuff here on the bottom. I pull this up until these bad stuff here starts to creep in. Now this is okay for this part here. Okay, click. Make this invisible and do another copy. Let's first cut out the useful stuff here. I take the polygon select and freehand select tool and just start to select the area that I like here. Could have done this freehand, but I think this is better. And now I go to Selection, Invert, and delete all the other stuff. And I have worked on the wrong layer here, you see. Okay, Control Z. Just got another phone call and was a little bit irritated here. And now delete. This is now white. I want it transparent. And so I add alpha layer and just press delete a second time. Here we are. Now I go here and I just add this alpha channel beforehand and to this one here too. And now I again unselect everything. Shift Control A unselects everything. Now I take the selection tool again, now the threshold tool again, and you see here the difference. This is the stuff I've already made. Now I go for the next zone here. I want to have this black without stuff that disturbs this. It doesn't get really better here, doesn't it? Okay. Now the same thing as some moments ago. Select the stuff that is good. Invert the selection. Can do it with Control and I, and delete the stuff that we don't want. And now again double this layer, threshold tool, and unselect everything. Now I have to find a position here where I don't get these faults with the feet and so, and have enough information to fill this up. Okay, here's a problem, but I'll work out. It will work out. Now I have a pretty good outline of all this, and I just make these two layers invisible, and now I go to Layer, oh no, it was Image, and Flatten, or Merge Visible Layers. Now I have to fine-tune this mask here, and I just see here is a problem with this toucan. Okay, let's fix that. Make this visible here, make a copy of it, use the threshold tool. Perhaps I should have made the contrast a little bit stronger here. This is bad luck, but here is a difference, and let's look if we can emphasize this with the Curves tool. We are here in the curve range, and just make this a little bit more contrasty. You see it gets better. And now let's have a look at the different channels. The red channel seems to have quite a difference. And now I take the threshold tool and look for the stage where I have a clear definition here. Okay, bad luck. I'll have to do this here by hand, and next time use a better method for making this image. Well, let's just select this area here and invert it. Delete all the rest. Move it upwards and merge it down. In the next step, I want to fill out everything that is now white inside of the figures with black. And for that, I have here black as my foreground color. I just take a big pen. This is not big. This, and now I can just start painting this over. But for seeing what's inside and outside, I go back to my layer here and reduce the opacity. 30% or so should be good. Now let's just paint this over here. Do the fine work in a moment. And let's zoom in to 100%. That's done with pressing the key 1. Moving around the image is easy. Just press the spacebar and move your mouse, or your pen in my case here. It's without pressing a button or so. Just if you press the spacebar, hold the spacebar and move the mouse, the image will move inside of the frame. It's a quite nice thing. So this can also be done by selecting and filling, but I think it's a bit nicer with the paintbrush here. See, there are a lot of zones with trouble. This was the first time I've shot images for such a purpose, and I have learned a lot for the next images. They will get a clear difference between background and foreground. The stuff that I haven't caught with the big brush, I do with a small one. And it's not very important to get everything, because we'll see little mistakes in a moment. I have now filled up everything that is inside of the figure and want to get rid of the stuff that's outside. And for that, let me make this smaller again. I go to Colors, Invert, and simply invert my layer. And now you see that I can see the white stuff outside of the figure better than the black stuff, the dark stuff before. Let me adjust here the opacity a bit. I think this is good. Okay, now I'm painting again this a little bit. As you have seen, it's a little bit fine-tuning and not so good if I talk all the time. Here see that I've forgotten some stuff inside. Just press X, switch the colors, and paint this over with white. X, and now black again. And also if you just, like here, mispaint, just switch with X to the different color. My mask is ready, and now I can apply this as a layer mask to my image here. So I select everything, Shift Control A. Sorry, Control A. Shift Control A is to deselect everything, and I just copy this. Now I make this invisible, activate this layer, say add a layer mask, and now it's not important what I select here, and now I just paste this image with Ctrl V. Here it is, and I apply this, I anchor this with Ctrl H or anchor this. And now I have my layer mask, and you see here my animals on the checkerboard, this transparent. To get a white background here, I just add a new layer with white and just put it below here. And now let's zoom into this image and have a look. You see here this doesn't look right, and everything is jagged, and there are some zones where here are little pixels left out and so on. There has to be done something. Here this is too much. I just see this here. This is too much. I go here and select again my pen. Black is still on, so let's paint this over here. X, smoothing this a little bit. I think this can go too here. So what can we do about this jaggy border and these leftover pixels here? It's fairly easy. Just select everything that is in the layer mask here. By the way, I am looking at my image and I'm working on my layer mask. This can be a little bit confusing, and you can see where you're working by the white border here, working on the image, working on the layer mask. And I'm working on the layer mask, but I'm looking at the image because I want to see what's happening with the image and not with the layer mask. So I select my color select tool and select everything here that is white. Now you see here we have all this white stuff marked. Now I go to selection, and I shrink this selection by, let's say, 4 pixels. And I don't want to shrink from the image border. I have no stuff here on the border, but I have made one image where I had a cutoff. Well, you've seen this image before, where I have a cutoff of the figure at the border. And then if you select this, you'll get shrinkage from the image border. So this is just 4 pixels out. And now I go to select and feather selection. And this is now 8 pixels. Because it's 4 pixels for 50% and then 4 pixels for 100% visibility. Let's do this. And now I invert the selection. Ctrl I. And now everything that has been black is selected. I could have done this the other way around too, by selecting black first and then enlarging the selection. would have been the same. You see one thing here, these white pixels here have been unselected. And now I just pull black into this here, and you see we have a completely new image here. Perhaps I should have used a little bit less broad field here, but I think this is okay. Let's wait for what the printer has to say about this. Oh, this doesn't look good here. So let's just take the clone tool, because if I just paint this over, let's try this. I just take my pen and I'm painting in black. I have to unselect everything. If I just paint this over, I get a very harsh corner here, and this will be visible. So I switch to I switch on my layer mask here, show layer mask. Here we are, and now I take my clone tool, just select this here and clone here. Not so nice. All the mistakes I've made are now visible, and I can just check them out and paint them over. Further repairs on the layer mask can be done with a soft brush here, the fuzzy circle, and using white. And I've pulled down the opacity, so this will not be so noticeable. Now I have my mask ready, but there's still a bit to do. One thing is the eyes. If you look at the eyes of these animals, you see there is a little bit of light in it. Let's look for our cat here. But this doesn't come out. It's a catch light, but this has to be much better. And so I just add another layer in transparency, and I call this dodge and burn. I should have called these layers in different ways too. So now I take first I set this to overlay mode, and I select a white color here and a soft brush. This is perhaps, this is okay. Now I just brush over this here, and you see this highlight comes out. Let's see with the fennec here. And okay, he has no thing, and I don't want to put something in there. And here the zebra. And with the zebra, of course, we have to brush his teeth here. So I think I'm finished here. there. Oops, this was the wrong key. I think I'm finished here. There will be some sharpening necessary, but I'll leave that to the guy who makes the printing stuff here, because he knows how much to sharpen. And of course he'll get a copy of the original image file too, because perhaps he has a little bit other ideas about getting rid of the background. I think this was it for today. I'll be back next Tuesday with another episode of Meet the Gimp. Goodbye.
Photocastnetwork.com, your photography resource in the podosphere. Photocastnetwork.com